So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Welcome you back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Thursday, December 3rd. Always having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Thursday, December 3rd, 3 days into December. It's moving like crazy already. No Thursday night football game on tonight, but there are a couple college basketball games on tonight, a couple good ones. We got a ranked game. We got another ranked game. We have four ranked games on tonight. So 4 AP top 25 teams play today in college basketball. You got Virginia Tech, you got Kansas, you got Iowa, and then you got Arizona State. So we got a couple basketball games on tonight. Nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy. But you do get to watch some ranked basketball teams, which is, I guess, pretty good. So those 4 games are all on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Outside of the Arizona State game, will be on at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we got obviously those games tonight. No NFL tonight. I know it's very odd. Thursday without NFL is odd, but there will be no NFL game on tonight. Usually that's the case, but with all the cancellations, tonight was actually supposed to be the Ravens-Cowboys, but with all the cancellations, with all the cases, that game got moved over to Tuesday. There's also, I'm pretty sure, there's a couple small college games on. There's 2 small games on today, and then tomorrow there's a ton, obviously. Tomorrow there's 2 on as well. That's Friday. But yeah, so some sports obviously on, nothing too crazy. I'll probably watch some basketball probably. But yeah, so nothing too crazy. It's not like you could look forward to a Thursday night football game or something, but at least there's something on, which is there's some college basketball games and stuff like that on, so I'll probably watch those. But yeah, so not a crazy night of sports, but also not a sports night where there's nothing on. I did enjoy the game yesterday. Yesterday's game did in fact happen. These are the topics for today. We got Steelers versus Ravens in fantasy football. That will be one topic. We got Steelers-Ravens game yesterday. Steelers won. They did not play their best game. I'll tell you that for sure. They really did not. They just did not play their best game at all. They played bad, and overall they just did not play good. But they got the win, and that at the end of the day is all that matters. But even Mike Tomlin said it yesterday. He said they played like a JV high school team. So obviously did not play that good. But they got the win. That's all that matters. They were playing against a banged-up Ravens team. So they got the win, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. But these are the topics, like I said, Steelers, Ravens, and fantasy football. I'll give you guys to add on fantasy football. It's odd doing it on Thursday. Usually I do it on a Tuesday. But obviously with the games getting pushed back, this is the start of the fantasy football week. Then we got NBA moves. We got the NBA moves. There's been a ton. AD signs an extension. LeBron signs an extension. Russell Westbrook gets traded to the Wizards for John Wall, and Westbrook and a first rounder to the Wizards for John Wall. I'm pretty sure it was a first rounder there. So ton of NBA moves. We're gonna break those down. Then we got college basketball, college football games. I'll do a little preview. I'm not gonna do anything. It's pretty simple to pick these games. I don't even have to look into them, but we'll do a little bit of I'll give you the games that are on tonight, and tell you give you my picks. Just because some college games on tonight. So that's the topics for today. With all that being said, this is the BSN Network podcast, and let's get right into it. Yesterday, the Baltimore Ravens did, in fact, play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Through all that went on during the week, through all that happened, everything that's happened this season, they finally did, in fact, get their game finished. I heard yesterday, I think, one of the announcers said, it was either Mike Tirico or Chris Collinsworth. I'm not sure which one. It might have been Mike Tirico because he was kind of the head guy there. But he was saying how this was the longest week, I think, in the NFL season. And he put down the hours. It lasted like 175-something hours or whatever. It was the longest week in the NFL history. The longest week. Week 13 lasted until yesterday. That's what's so crazy. Usually, it lasted until Monday. Monday, it's done. It lasted till Wednesday night. That's what's crazy. So, it really is crazy. The Steelers did come out with a win. It was an all right game. It really wasn't anything crazy. I watched it, but it was I was expecting. I was expecting not I shouldn't say a closer game because it really wasn't that close. It came out to be a decent game, but I was expecting the Steelers to put a better product on the field. The Steelers really struggled yesterday. I did get my pick right, which I guess at the end of the day, all that matters. I did get my pick correct. I went 12-4 this week for the pick, so very excited for that. I moved to 122-63 in the season, and now we wait for Week 13 to start, which should be exciting. So I was very excited that I got that pick correct. A huge bounce back week. Got 6 more wins than last week, and 4 less losses than last week. So it was a complete bounce back week. Went 12-4, had a good week, overall we went 122-63 in the season. So, just got to keep it going. We got 4 more weeks after this week to go. So we got just about 4 more weeks to go to just get that record even higher, and I'll be in a good position to finish the year on a high note for the game picks. The Steelers did in fact win, like I just said, 19-14. Steelers moved to 11-0 on the Steelers season, and the Ravens fall to 6-5 on the season. Right, and we all kind of knew it coming into this game, right? You had Griffin the third, you had RG3. McSorley did come in and play for a little bit. McSorley did come in. He threw a touchdown. For a guy to come in, he threw what? He threw 6 passes. He went 2 of 6, 77 yards and a touchdown. So, it wasn't amazing. He went 2 of 6. He went below 50%. But, you can't expect the guy to come in there, throw 10 for 10, and throw 3 touchdowns for 150 yards. And we knew coming into this game that it was going to be a struggle for the Baltimore Ravens. And like I say, I always say this. We'll get to the Steelers in just a second. The Ravens did struggle yesterday, right? They made that game close. They did make it interesting. It did come down to the Steelers having to burn the clock and get a couple of those first downs to really ice the game. But I think, the Ravens, for not having Lamar Jackson, for not having Mark Ingram or J.K. Dobbins, for not having, Lamar Jackson, especially Lamar Jackson, who has struggled this year, but I would take Lamar Jackson every single day of the week over McSorley or RG3. Without having those guys, it definitely was difficult to win this game. Without Dobbins, without Ingram, like I just said, and without Jackson, it's going to be difficult to win. So I thought the Ravens, for the most part of the game, they were getting beat. They were losing. For the most part of the game, they were losing 12-7. It did 19-7 in the fourth quarter then. They scored a late touchdown, which made things interesting. But for the most part, they did lose this game. And they were expected to lose this game. It would have been a huge upset if they would have won. I think, the Ravens are making things interesting. They are 6-5 right now. They're 6-5. So the Ravens are not completely out of it yet, or not completely in yet to the playoffs. They're 6-5. And they have the Cowboys coming up, which is luckily they have the Cowboys because that's probably going to be a win. So you'll probably move to 7-5. Then you got the Browns. You can't guarantee that a win. I would only say they maybe get the win there just because I think their offense is better. So that would put you at 8-5. Jaguars is 9-5. Technically, the Ravens, the rest of their way, have a very easy schedule. You could say that the 4 of their next 5 games are very easy. You have the Cowboys, the Jaguars, the Giants, and the Bengals. Those are probably all wins. So that would put you at 10-5. And that Browns game is the one game that's a toss-up because they did beat the Browns early on in the year. Week 1, they beat the Browns 38-6. But that could also very well change. So, who knows? I think things are getting a little interesting here. But they have dropped 4 of their last 5. Their last win coming against the Indianapolis Colts 24-10. I think the chances of them winning the division now are, I think they might have clinched the division. Yeah, the Steelers must have clinched the division yesterday. No, never mind. Baltimore can't win the division now because even if they win 11 straight and the Steelers lose 5 straight, they still have the better overall record because they beat them 2-0. So the Ravens now can't win a division, so they know they got to go out there and they got to fight for that wild card spot because they're not making it. They're not going to be in the divisions. And the Ravens, you can't call them in yet. Like I said, you cannot guarantee the Ravens a spot just yet in the playoffs because they're not guaranteed yet in the playoffs. They're really not. There's still a very likely chance they miss the playoffs. I think their strength of their schedule the rest of the way does really help. Just because they do have a lot of meh teams coming up. Jaguars, awful. You got the Bengals, not good. the Giants, not very good either. And then you got the Cowboys, who are also not very good. The Browns are the only team that sits. You play one winning team, and that is the Browns. They have one team the rest of their way above 500, and that's the Cleveland Browns. So their schedule favors them, but they're definitely making it interesting for not only them, but for the fans and for all the NFL. I mean, we're sitting here today thinking the Ravens, they're not, this isn't, the way this season started with the Ravens, they started off what? I think they started off 5-1. The way the season started, everyone was like, they started off 5-1. Since that 5-1 start, after that Week 7 bye week, they are now 1-5. Since that Week 7 bye week. They are now 1-4. I'm sorry, 1-4 since that Week 7 bye week. They come off of the win against the Eagles. They go into the bye week. They come out sluggish against the Steelers, lose. Come out, beat the Colts. Now they come out, lose to the Patriots, lose to the Titans, and now lose to the Steelers. So they're just dropping as we speak. But they got to bounce back. They'll get some players healthy, and they're playing the Cowboys. The Cowboys is a big game. They should beat the Cowboys. If you don't beat the Cowboys, then you have the this is one of the things, you gotta, and Harbaugh's a good coach, right? He's brought him to a Super Bowl. He's a good coach. He's been in the league for a long time. You've got to realize as a NFL head coach that you absolutely have to keep your guys focused on the games that they need to be focused on. And you might be wondering, that makes no sense. I mean this. You have to, if you're a Ravens coach right now, keep them focused on a game at a time. You cannot get caught looking ahead. If you play the Cowboys this week and you're so focused on looking ahead to the, and you're so focused on looking ahead, or even, for instance, you're so focused on looking ahead to the Browns because the divisional opponent, that could really decide a lot on how the rest of the division pans out, right? And then you slip up to the Cowboys, you go 6-6, and now all of a sudden you're going up against an 8-3 Browns team, which I don't think is all that good, but still, maybe they get the win. Then you're sitting there, oh my gosh, we're below 500. That's why I do think their schedule favors them, because if they do have a slip-up, they can still definitely make it up. Let's just say if they have a slip-up against the Jaguars, the next week they play the Giants. That's a very winnable game. A slip-up against the Giants, the next week they play the Bengals, right? So, there's room that you can slip up. If they slip up one of these weeks, fall to 6-6, and all these teams they can beat. So, that's why it favors them. And same thing with, and then, I kind of just to get into the game, like I said, they made a couple of plays, but all in all, RG3 only threw the ball 12 times. They threw a ball a total of 18 times between two quarterbacks yesterday. RG3 struggled. I mean, he went for 33 yards, an interception. He took 3 sacks. His rating was 28.5. I mean, it's just, to be honest, it's really just, what do you expect? What do you expect? It's almost like this whole Broncos situation. You go out there, you got your practice squad receiver playing quarterback for the first time. What do you expect? What are you going to expect him to do? Go out there, throw 4 touchdowns and 250 yards? If that's the case, then that's quite outrageous predictions, because him going out there, right? RG3's been injured a lot. It's not the case. And for the Steelers got to win, but it was ugly. And I've always been this, it wins a win. This is not going to go down to, same thing with the Ravens. This is not going to go down to, we lost, but we made it close in the end. It's going to go down as an L. And I know I repeat this almost every single podcast, and it might be getting annoying, but I want to really, really, really stress this. A win is a win, and a loss is a loss. At the end of the day, the winning team is the winning team, and the losing team is the losing team. You cannot say, oh, we lost, but we should have won because of a bad ref call. You cannot. I mean, you can say that. I mean, you can. I personally don't like when people blame games on the refs. I mean, I've said that so many times on this podcast. I don't like when people blame the games on the refs. I've always been a person that says you cannot blame the game on the refs, because obviously, the game can't come down to the refs. If you lost the game and you're blaming it on the refs, then you obviously didn't play well enough. And the Steelers yesterday, this is not going to go down in the books as a win, but we did not play that good. It's going to go down as a win. So they got the win, and I said this even about the Giants. I've been saying this a ton. I'm not saying that the Giants did not get the win against the Bengals. And I know this might seem like I'm going a little off topic here, but it does kind of correlate back to the Steelers. The Steelers did not play that good yesterday. I mean, Roethlisberger did not play that good yesterday. He threw a touchdown and a pick. He did not play that good yesterday. He was all right. He was not, you go up against some of these better teams, you're not going to beat them with that. But all I'm saying is the Steelers, if they put this performance out there on the field against some of these better teams, they still got the Bills coming up. They still got the Colts. They still got the Browns. If you put the effort out there like you did today against some of these teams, you're going to get crushed. And that's what I was saying the other day about the Giants, too. This is almost a similar situation. The Giants beat the Bengals, but they played real bad. If the Giants played like they did against the Bengals, against maybe a team like the Seahawks or the Cardinals or even the Ravens maybe, or the Browns, or pretty much every team on their schedule remaining, because they're all hard teams to beat, they're going to get crushed. The Steelers got the win yesterday, but if Lamar Jackson was playing yesterday and the Steelers played like this, they probably would have lost. Even though Lamar Jackson has been struggling, this was still a team that they just struggled big time. So, the Steelers struggled, but they got the win, and that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You go out there to win a football game, no matter how you get the win, no matter how you get it, whether you get it by winning, no matter how you get the win. If you get the win, that is all that matters at the end of the day. So the Steelers win 19-14. These were the stats. Roethlisberger went 36 of 51, 266 yards, 7.1 was his average, 7.4 was his average, a touchdown, interception, and a rating of 81. Benny Snell had 16 carries for 60 yards, 3.8 was his average. Nothing crazy there. Eric Ebron or Juju Smith-Schuster had a touchdown. He had 8 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. Ebron led the way in yards, 7 catches for 54 yards. Claypool was close behind him with 6 catches for 52 yards. Deontay Johnson had 8 catches for 46 yards. He had that pivotal drop that would have been a touchdown. Luckily, it did not come back to hurt him big time, but it did. When that game got close late there in the final 3 to 2 minutes left in that game, it definitely got interesting. Especially when he missed that. Overall, the defense, Watt got 2 sacks and Hayward got a sack. So your 2 big guys, T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, were the guys to rack up to 3 sacks. Joe Hayden had an interception early on. He had a pick 6. Mika Fitzpatrick had 2 pass defenses. Their secondary just continues to just dominate. And I said that yesterday when I was talking about the game, when I was previewing it. Joe Hayden's going to be questionable, but he played. If you want any chance of winning this game, you're going to have to stop one of them. So that was a big key on the Ravens. Now the Ravens stat line, pretty bad. Not really much going for them. McSorley went 2 of 6, 77 yards, 38.5 was his average. 1 touchdown and a rating of 121.5. RG3 had 7 carries or 7 attempts for 12 yards. 7 completions for 12 yards for 12 attempts, 7 completions on 12 attempts. 33 yards, 4.7 was his average, no touchdowns, a pick. Took 3 sacks and a rating of 28.5, so pretty bad there. RG3 ran the ball 7 times, had 68 yards. Gus Edwards had 9 carries for 10 yards and a touchdown. Marquise Brown caught the touchdown from McSorley late in that game. That made things interesting. 4 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown for him. Finally rounding the corner a little. He had 1 big game. He struggled this year. You get him in the open, he can be solid. Duvernay had 3 catches, 20 yards. Not much going for them on offense, to say the very least. Not much going for them on offense at all. They struggled on offense, and there's no other way of saying it. There's no other way of saying it. They struggled on offense, and their defense. Their defense did the job. Their defense stopped them. They scored 19 points. To go up against the Steelers, who a lot of people think is a Super Bowl team. The Steelers did not cover this game. They only won by 5. They did not cover. So I think there was a lot. There's a lot of Ravens fans yesterday that, were excited the way that, they played. I think, they didn't play good, but they made the things interesting. And I think if I was a Steelers fan right now, I would be a little concerned. And I'm not just saying this, because you could go back to my past podcasts. I've made a couple of them where I don't know exactly which one, right? I've made so many, I forget half the time which ones. Unless if it was like within the recent 1 or 2 days. I don't think this is a Steelers team that is going to make or win the Super Bowl. I don't. And I'm not just saying this because of the performance they put out there yesterday. I personally don't think Ben Roethlisberger is all that good. I also don't think that their receiving core is all that good either. I think outside of Claypool, Schuster's very hot cold. You catch him on a hot day, he can tear it up. You catch him on a cold day, 1 catch for maybe 2 yards. And that's the truth. I could go on fantasy right now. 2 weeks ago, against the Titans, he had 2 catches for or Jaguars, they had 2 catches for 19 yards. So, they don't really have anyone crazy reliable on that team. Their defense is what is getting them their defense, yes, if you are a defensive type of fan, and I like defenses, I like when there's defensive games sometimes. I like when they're close, and I like when they come down to the wire and stuff. I don't always, the highs, sometimes these highs, there's two different fans. I'm kind of in the middle because I don't love high-scoring games. Sometimes they are fun to watch. Shootouts, they are fun to watch. But at the same time, I do like the defensive games. One, they go quicker, and also, two, they usually figure to be closer, I feel like. A defensive type of game. Like, for example, yesterday, 5-point game. A lot of times I feel like shootouts could end like 49-40. That's semi-close, but it's still 2 scores. But yeah, what I was saying is this Steelers team, I don't think they're all that good. I know they're 11-0, and I'm not trying to take that away from them, and 11-0 is 11-0 no matter how you get to the 11-0. But I don't think this is a team that's going to last very long in the playoffs. Mark my word, let them go on and win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to be able to get past the Chiefs. And you could sit here and say, oh, the Chiefs have one loss and stuff. Yeah, I understand that, but I don't think they're going to be able to get past the Chiefs. I really don't. I really don't think they'll be able to get past the Chiefs. So, it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens there with the Steelers. But they have a very good defense. And yesterday, defense won them this game, like I just said. And the way they're going to get to that Super Bowl, if they want to, is because of their defense. This reminds me a lot of this Broncos team. Their offense was not very good. This team did not really seem that good, but it was their defense that got them to that Super Bowl, and it was their defense that won them that Super Bowl game against one of the better quarterbacks at the time and one of the better offenses at the time in the league, in the Carolina Panthers. And I feel like this Pittsburgh Steelers team is very similar. An older quarterback, Peyton Manning was older back then. Now Roethlisberger's also older. An older quarterback, a meh offense, and a very good defense. That's what teams are going to be scared of. I'll tell you what, AFC Championship game between Pittsburgh and Kansas City, a high-powering offense versus a very good defense, that would be a fun game. That would be fun. I think that would be good for the league and good for overall. That would just be a good game. That would be good for the league and good for both fan bases. I think there would be a lot of hype going into that game. But yeah, so the Steelers moved to 11-0 on the season, and the Ravens fought away tough 6-5. But Steelers are still up there in 11-0. The Steelers' schedule, it does get tough. It does. They do. Their schedule is not a cakewalk. You got Washington. That's probably a win. So what? You go to 12-0. Bills, Bengals is a win. Colts and Browns. Browns maybe, but Colts, for example, their defense is very good. So, things are going to be interesting with this team because, for example, look at this. You got the Bills. That's going to be a tough game. The Bengals will be a win. So, you're probably 12-0 with the Washington. I think they beat Washington. Bills is going to be tough. You do beat the Bengals. So, I think automatically they finish the year with 13 wins. Because I think they get wins over Washington and the Bengals. So, that would put you at 13-0. That's out of order, though. Then you have the Bills, Colts, Browns. I think they lose at least 1 or 2 of those games. I don't think they win all 3 of them. Maybe they do. Prove me wrong. Go 16-0 and win the Super Bowl. I don't know. The Bills, I think, out of all these teams, I think the Bills would be the team to beat them. So 15-1 then, I think. Because the Bills would be the team, I think, out of all their remaining 4 or 5 teams, the Bills, I think, are the best team on that schedule. I think the Bills are better than the Browns. I think the Bills are better than the Colts. I think the Bills probably are one of the best teams on that schedule. So, if you had to choose, I think the Bills would probably be as Steelers fans, that would be the game I would be concerned about. If you're concerned at all. As Steelers fans, personally. That would be the game I would be worried about. Would be that Bills game on Sunday night. That would be the game I would be concerned. But Bills also did beat you last season, and they had a very similar team. It's a very similar team. So, I think the Bills beat them last year, right? I think they did. So, similar team. So, it's going to be interesting. It's Steelers team, I think everyone at this point, because they're going to make the playoffs, I think at this point it's just down to, are they going to go undefeated? Are they going to go 15-1? Are they going to go 13-3, 14-2, 16-0? What are they going to do? I think everyone knows they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they drop their final 5 and somehow choke out of the playoffs. But it's going to be interesting to see how they end the year. So let's look at the upcoming games for Week 13. We got I think I've already said this, but let's read it again. We got the Jets, Raiders, Dolphins, Bengals, Browns, Titans, Colts, Texans, Jaguars, Vikings, Lions, Bears, Saints, Falcons, Giants, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, Eagles, Packers, Patriots, Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Washington, Steelers, Bills, Niners, and the Cowboys, Ravens. That's pretty good. What's the most interesting? I think that I don't know. I think that Titans Browns game will probably be pretty good. Rams Cardinals. I completely skipped over that one. That would be a very good game. Patriots Chargers is going to be entertaining. I think that won't be I don't think that's going to be a blowout in any way for either team. I think it's going to be close. And I think even Rams Cardinals. I think if you had to highlight one of these games, I think Rams Cardinals is probably the best. I mean, you could say that's almost for second place. Whoever wins that game. That's a big game this week, is that Rams Cardinals game. That has a lot. And if the Cardinals lose, they're 6-6, people. If the Cardinals lose that game, they'll be 6-6. And then, okay, their schedule is pretty easy coming up. Then they have the Giants, which is probably a win. Eagles and Niners are probably all wins. And then you got the Rams again. The Cardinals, they might fall to 6-6. But then they have some easy opponents. Then they have the Giants. That's an easy win. Eagles and Niners are easy wins. So that'll put you at 9-6 then. And then the Rams at the final week of the season, either 10-6, 9-7. That's probably where the Cardinals are going to finish. That's going to be a good game, though. That does have an impact, though. And as for the Rams, if they win that one, the Rams have a pretty smooth... Rams schedule is tough. If they win that game, they move to 8-4. Then they would go to the Patriots. That's probably a win. Jets is a win. That's 9-4. 10-4. And then you got two tough games with the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seahawks is probably a loss, even though they beat them early on. It's 10-5. And then either Cardinals. If I had to take the one of the two, I would rather be the Cardinals schedule right now. Because they've got 3 very winnable games. The Rams, they've got 2 very... realistically, the Rams could win all their remaining games as well. Same thing with the Cardinals. The Rams could beat the Cardinals. Rams could beat the Patriots. Rams definitely could beat the Jets and the Patriots. And the Rams early on in the year beat the Seahawks. And then the Cardinals again. Realistically, the Rams and the Cardinals can beat every team remaining on their schedule. The Cardinals can beat the Rams, Giants, Eagles, 49ers, and the Rams again. So it's going to come down. I think that's for really second place there. Because I do think the Giants pick up. I do think the Seahawks pick up the win against the Giants, I think. But we won't spoil my picks there. That's just going to be a good game, though. There's a lot of... Titans-Browns is an interesting one. Because I don't think the Browns are all that good. But at the same time, Titans have shown a lot of rust. Titans are one of those teams where one week they're showing you they could be a contender, and then the next week they're showing you, like, how in the world is this team 8-3? That's the same thing with the Browns. Flashes. They have flashes. Other than that, though, the games are not that great. Chiefs, Broncos. Bills, Niners is semi-interesting, I think, just because if you catch the Bills on an off day, the Chargers caught them on an off day. Chargers still lost. But I also do think that was a lot of part of Anthony Lynn. He had some bad time management late in that game when I was finishing watching that game because the Jets were over. He had some bad time management. That time management's a little better. You might squeak one out of there, but the chances are probably very slim. But the Chargers caught the Bills. I think if the Niners catch the Bills on an off day, that could be interesting. If you catch the Bills on an off day, it's not a great. This is a big week for the Bills because the Dolphins play the Bengals, so that's probably a very winnable game for them. But then the Bills play the Niners. That's not the easiest game ever. I think the Bills probably have the advantage, but it's not as easy as the Dolphins going against the Bengals. So it's a big week for the AFC East too, depending on that one spot is still up in the air. I was reading percentages this morning. The Bills have a 70% chance to win the AFC East, which would then lead the Dolphins, I'm assuming, to probably like a 20, and then the Patriots to like a 10. Although I don't think the Patriots even come close. So, the Bills have a 70% chance to win the AFC East. And they have a 90 to make the playoffs. I would almost put them at a 97 to make the playoffs. They would really have to choke their rest of their season. They have to win one more game, people, to finish over 500. So, they're pretty much going to finish over 500. At worst, they finish at 500, which could still realistically possibly get you into the playoffs, especially if the Ravens keep on dropping games. So, there's a lot of good games in the NFL. There could be a lot of interesting situations depending on who wins. If the Bills lose and the Dolphins win, that opens up the door. If the Bills win and the Dolphins win, the door is still open for a change in that top speed. And then you obviously have the Tuesday game where the Ravens, if they somehow trip up on that game, they're at 500. So there could be a lot of interesting scenarios depending on what happens. But yeah, those should be some good games. Now I move on to fantasy football. I know it's odd. I'm doing a new week of fantasy football on a Thursday. Usually today I would be talking about who to put in on Thursday night game, but there is no Thursday games, obviously. So coming up next, we got fantasy football. Okay, so we got some fantasy football here. So both leagues I did win this week. Luckily, I was able to get 2 wins in both leagues. Another good winning week. 86-71 in my one league and 202-92 in my other league. So overall, a pretty successful week in fantasy football. Once again, that's 2 straight weeks with 2 straight wins, with two wins in both leagues. So both leagues I'm riding a 2-game win streak, which is pretty good. My one league, I clinched a playoff spot. Officially, I clinched it, although I would say I probably clinched it a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't official. But I officially, after that Steelers game last night and after I got the win yesterday, I officially clinched a playoff spot. Now it's a whether I'm going to be the 3 seed or the 2 seed or the 4 seed or the 3 seed is going to depend on what happens this week. I need to win this week, and my opponent and the other player in my league needs to lose. If I win and he wins, he's in because he has more points. I need to win and he needs to lose. Pretty much all I have to do is I need to win, and that's it. If I lose, he's in, no matter if he loses or what. I just need to win. If I win and he loses, then I just have to focus on winning. Because if I win and he wins, then he's still in. So the chances for me are he has a lot more options. If he loses and I lose, then he's still in. So he could take an L technically, and I can't lose this week. And if I lose this week, I'm the 4 seed. But I would rather play. I don't want to play the number 1 seed, obviously, because that's the best team. I would rather not. But upsets can happen. I don't think I will upset him. I think he has probably the best team in the league. I'm not just saying that because he has the 1 seed. I'm really saying that he probably does have the best team in the league. I just need to focus on winning this week. Because if I win, I also, even if I don't get the 3 seed and he wins and I win, I still want to finish above 500. Being below 500 in the playoffs just feels like a very NFC East thing to do in fantasy football. So I would like to finish above 500. But 6-7 is not awful. That's why I really wanted to win this week. Because 5-8's ugly. 5-8 is very ugly. 6-7, I could deal with it. That's not awful. But 7-6, I would much rather it. But as long as I hope I finish above 500. So I did make some moves here. Oh, in my other league as well. My other league, I moved to 7-5 on the season. And I am currently the 2 seed. But that could very well change depending on what happens this week. So there's still hopefully a good chance of me, staying as the 2 seed there. I'm on a big 2-game win streak. I've won 4 of my last 5 games. Let's see. I've won 4 of my last 5 games. So that is huge. Needed this little streak here, which is big. I'm 4-1 in my last 5 games, so really, really, really good. I'm 7-5. I'm currently number 1 in my division. I currently have the most points in the league. Or actually, yes, I do. So it looks like I probably will make it. It's just a matter of what seed. And yeah, this league as well. It looks like I'm going to make the playoffs. My goal was to make the playoffs in both leagues, and that was the deal. This league was looking quite, ugly a couple weeks ago. It really was. I even said on the podcast, this league was looking quite, it wasn't looking too good a couple weeks ago. But I was able to turn it around and win it, and I'm now 7-5, and hopefully gonna win it all. So let's look at my other league. So my other league, I did say this was a big decision week for me. I have a lot of decisions to make. This is my lineup so far. Aaron Rodgers, Chris Carson, Austin Eckler, Devontae Adams, Robert Woods, Hunter Henry, Todd Gurley, Browns defense, Daniel Carlson. Browns defense will change in tomorrow because I put in a waiver claim to drop them. My bench is Elliott, Schuster, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, Matt Ryan, Rob Gronkowski, Ronald Jones, and David Johnson's currently on my IR. They're going to activate him off the IR, so that's going to have to change soon. I'm still deciding on who to drop. I think I'm planning on dropping probably, I don't know who I want to drop, just because Ronald Jones has been so good. I'm planning on probably dropping maybe Ronald Jones. But at the same time, David Johnson too, can I really trust him? I don't know. It's going to be a decision to make, but I'm going to have to make it soon because he's going to be off the IR. Currently, right now, DJ Moore is on a bye week. Gronk and Ronald Jones are all on bye weeks. I did say I made the decision to bench Elliott, although that is not a confirmed decision because both my running backs, 2 of my 3 running backs who are in my lineup right now, are both questionable. Chris Carson. Carson Foot was listed as limited on the Wednesday's practice report. John Boyle of the Seahawks official site report. So, limited, I'm not too concerned, but hopefully he starts to get some full participants in there and hopefully get some more reps. And as for Todd Gurley, who missed last week's game with a knee injury, he missed last week's game with a... he missed last week's game with a... he missed last week's game with a knee injury. I was going to say. Missed last week's game with a knee injury. He is questionable as well. Gurley knee didn't practice Thursday. Will McFadden of the Falcons official site report. So he did not practice Thursday, which is not a good sign. But hopefully it's tomorrow he comes back, at least is limited, and then Saturday, if they have walkthroughs, is participating in that. If he's out tomorrow, I can't imagine him missing 2 days. He was limited on Wednesday, now he was out today, which is a bad sign too, because that could have meant that he took a step back on Wednesday. If you're limited on Wednesday, he came to the facility today, didn't feel right, that he was out today, that's a concern. Hopefully that's not the case, because then I might have to go the Elliott route. Because that would be my next running back. Or do I go David Johnson? I'm trying to do the best I can not to play Elliott. Okay, I know a lot of you might be thinking I'm joking about that. I am. I'm benching Elliott. I was very patient with him. I'm benching him now. So, I know a lot of you might think that's not a great move, but, you got to look at the numbers, people. He's just not having a good couple of weeks here. I'm going to try my best not to play him, but, if it comes down to where I have to, I'm going to have to. So that's kind of the report for this team. And my waiver claim, which I almost forgot to tell you guys, was I added Packers defense and I dropped Browns defense. In my other league, why can't I remember this? I want Eagles, right? Did they play the Eagles? Yes, they played the Eagles. So the Packers play the Eagles. I'm confident they'll do good. They played against a bad Bears offense, did well. Played them against a bad Eagles offense. I think they'll do well as well. And as for my other league, right now I've got Deshaun Watson, James Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, Hunter Henry. At the moment, Raheem Mostert is in. Giants defense, Daniel Carlson. My bench is Mike Evans, Kenyon Drake. Rams defense, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Godwin, and Gus Edwards. I'm probably dropping Gus Edwards. I will definitely drop him. I don't know what to really, I don't know, really what to do because I don't have really that outside of him. I don't have another really wide receiver. I'm still kind of deciding on what I'm completely going to do with, Gus Edwards and stuff. But I am going to probably drop him actually right now. I'll probably pick up David Johnson. I'll pick up him and drop Gus Edwards. Boom, boom. Okay, so I just submitted another waiver claim. So these are my 2 waiver claims. I'm adding Ravens defense, and I'm going to drop Giants. And I'm going to add David Johnson. I'm going to drop Gus Edwards. I like Ravens defense. The way they played yesterday, and then they're going against a struggling Cowboys offense. I like that as well. A.J. Brown was injured as well today, or questionable. I shouldn't say injured. Brown hip didn't practice Thursday. Ron Davenport of the ESPN.com reports. I don't want to say that's not a severe injury because I don't want to sit here and say it's not and it turn into where he misses the game. Multiple weeks in a row now, he has not practiced on either a Wednesday, Thursday, or a Friday, and he still went out there and played well. I'm confident he'll play, but at the same time, I'm, a little worried because, not practicing already on a Thursday when it's Monday and not practicing now all of a sudden on Thursday is a little concerning. But if he's out, then I'm really in a bad position because I'm going to need to go out and pick up a receiver. And that would put me in a real bad position because both my receivers are on bye weeks. So I'm going to need to go out and pick up a receiver. And I don't like my receiver options off of waivers in this league because I don't like Deebo Samuel, I guess maybe. But, I don't know. I don't really know. He's playing against a good Rams defense. Or no, he's not good. Buffalo. So I don't know. It would be interesting. So hopefully he plays because if he doesn't, that's not good. That's not good at all. So that's kind of both my leagues there. Those are my 3 waiver claims I have. So hopefully all those go through successfully, and hopefully I get the players and the defenses that I need. That is obviously the goal. Now we move on to the NBA moves throughout the NBA. There has been a lot of moves happening, a lot of players going to new teams, a lot of things happening around the NBA coming up next. Alrighty. Okay, so there has been a lot of things going around in the NBA. Let's see all these things that have gone around. NBA trades. Let's see. So we'll talk about the trades so far. So yesterday, let's see. So yesterday a trade went through, and I'll review it. I'm going to be a little short on this. I took a lot of time to talk about the other stuff, but I'm going to be kind of quick on this. We might go more in depth on it another day. But NBA trade tracker yesterday, Russell Westbrook, Rockets sent Russell Westbrook to the Wizards. So they sent him to Rockets, trade Russell Westbrook to the Wizards for John Wall and a first-round pick. So the Wizards are giving up John Wall and a first-round pick, and Westbrook is going to the Wizards. Rockets are getting John Wall and a first-round pick. So here's my thing, and I was kind of looking at this earlier, right? Westbrook's 32, Wall's 30. So the age, they're kind of up there. I don't want to say 30's old because you're right out of 20s. Wall is coming off of a lost season, though. Here's the thing. The positive about both of these, and I don't like Westbrook. I don't like him at all. I can't stand him. He's probably one of my least favorite NBA players. I just don't like the way he plays. I think he's a head case in the locker room. I really do think he's overrated. I think his whole triple-double and his whole, I got a triple-double this, triple-double that, I don't really think is that good. And you also look at the players that have gone on from out without him. KD left him, won a ring. Harden left him, was way more successful. The players that leave Paul George are way more successful. Not Paul George. The players that leave Paul George was very successful when he left them. The players that leave Russell Westbrook are very successful, and the numbers show this too. I mean, this isn't just me trying to make an opinion here. The numbers back this up. The players that have gone away from Westbrook have done significantly better because he is not a great teammate. And you could always say, oh, well, he's a big assist man. Yeah, those are late game assists because he tries to pad his stats and get those triple doubles. So I don't like Westbrook. But what I will say is he's a pretty good player. I can't take that away from him. He's a good player. I cannot take that away from him. I will always say this. I do think he's overrated. I don't think he's as good as many people think. I'll say that about many players. I will say that about many players. I think there's a lot of players in the NFL that are like that. I think, for example, Odell Beckham's overrated in the NFL. I think a lot of people think he's very good. I don't think he's all that good. He's not all. I mean, he's pretty bad now, but I think he's overrated. I mean, I could even say Baker Mayfield at times. A lot of people think that he's very good. I think he might be slightly overrated as well. So it's not just Russell Westbrook. I mean, I'm kind of picky with players. I'm not always in love with every single player I see. I do also like, if you're a good teammate and you're a good guy off the court and, you're not always focused on shellfish player and stuff, I'll like you. But if you're kind of like a Westbrook, a little bit shellfish, kind of just that kind of stuff, then I might not. But what I kind of found here is both of these teams, they're getting a pair. John Wall is going to pair up with James Harden in Houston, and Bradley Beal is now going to bring in Russell Westbrook as a pair with Washington Wizards. So it's not like one team is getting an insane player and the other team isn't. I think this is a balanced trade. And the reason why is I think John Wall, they're both near age. They're both close in age. I think John Wall going to pair up with Harden. And then I think Bradley Beal pairing up with Westbrook. That's the thing. You have two pair-ups. Westbrook to the Wizards. Now he's going to pair up with Bradley Beal. You have Harden. You have John Wall to the Rockets. Now he's going to pair up with John Wall. So, or now he's going to pair up with James Harden. So that now you have two duos. You have Beal and Westbrook and Wall and Houston and Wall and Harden. So I think both these teams are kind of, they're trading that second guy. They're trading him. John Wall is now, they're trading your step guy or whatever, your side step or whatever, your sidekick, sorry. They're trading sidekicks. Because now Russell Westbrook or Bradley Beal's sidekick is now Russell Westbrook. James Harden's is now John Wall. And they're also getting that first round pick in return. What I will say about this trade, which is kind of unique, is both these teams are getting rid of their biggest problems. If you kind of get where I'm saying from. And I don't mean that in a bad way like they're getting rid of their two worst players. I mean kind of problems meaning they don't know what to do with this guy. There's been a lot of rumors surrounding him, that kind of stuff. Right? Both these teams are getting rid of their two biggest problems. All this talk around Westbrook, Westbrook kind of being a little bit of a head case, Westbrook saying stuff himself, they got rid of him. That was their biggest problem. Same thing with John Wall. All this news about John Wall requesting a trade, him saying he didn't request a trade, Wizards saying that they are trying to trade him. Now he's not. Now they weren't trying to trade him. They ended up doing it. And then, is he going to come back? Was there beef between him and Bradley Beal? All these injuries that he's been affected by, right? Now they traded him away. So both these teams are exchanging their biggest problems. Westbrook is Houston's biggest problem, and Wall was Washington's biggest problem. So they're giving problems over to each other. I'll give you my problem, and you give me your problem. It's kind of one of those things. Because John Wall was a problem, and he was a good player in Wizards. And I don't mean problem like he was causing chaos there. I mean just they don't know what to do with him. There's been so many rumors surrounding him. Everyone's talking about, what's going to happen to John Wall? Same thing with Westbrook. Is Westbrook going to come to the Knicks? Is John Wall going to go somewhere else? Even with Bradley Beal, there was rumors about Bradley Beal wanting to leave the Wizards because he wasn't a big fan of John Wall and stuff. All that stuff, they're both getting rid of him, and they're bringing in new guys. So it's kind of a fresh start, I feel like, for both teams, because now Harden's never worked with Wall, and Westbrook's never worked with Beal. So it's kind of a fresh start, and we'll see what it goes. We'll see how it goes. And we'll see how it goes. These two teams won't meet much because one's in the Western Conference, that's Houston Rockets, and one's in the Eastern Conference, that's the Wizards. And do I think this going to make the Wizards an 8 seed or a top 8 seed to make the playoffs? I don't really know. It's kind of that feeling out process. Both these guys have a little bit of different games. What are you going to get out of Beal and Westbrook combo? We've seen what Beal can do. Westbrook's been with so many different guys. He was paired with KD. Now he's paired with Harden. Now he's paired with Beal. He's been paired with a lot of different players. So now really what's the deal? What is he going to do with this pair? Is this going to be successful than the others? I don't know. I think this is a very mediocre move for both teams. Both teams are giving up their biggest problems, and both teams are receiving that other team's biggest problem. So I think this was a very meh deal for both teams. I don't think one team really won this deal, and I don't think one team crazy lost this deal. Because I think both these players are pretty good, and I think you're getting new combo, kind of a little bit of a fresh start. And Houston did say they're keeping Harden, so it looks like Harden's staying. Also yesterday, or a couple days ago, LeBron's was a couple days ago, AD's happened yesterday. They both signed huge contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers, and this was a big topic that has come up a whole lot. We all know the Michael Jordan-led Chicago Bulls. Everyone saw the documentary, the 6 for 6, the 6-0 in the NBA Finals, 6 rings, 6 chances, 6 times being there, won it all 6 times. We all know that Chicago Bulls team. And I don't like to really, and I'm not always a big fan. I'm a big fan of comparing players. I do like comparing players. If you've seen some of my podcasts before, I do like comparing players. Like if you ask me, compare this guy and this guy, or I don't know, what's a fair comparison? Who's better? Giannis or not Giannis? I'll try to pick someone. Who's better? Who's a better shooter? For example, Ray Allen or Stephen Curry. I do like to debate about that. I do like to debate about who's better. Who's better right now? Damian Lillard or Stephen Curry, right? Guys like that. If you want to keep it on basketball. If you want to go to baseball, you could always say who's the best pitcher. Is it Bauer or Cole or DeGrom? Who is it? So, there's definitely a lot of stuff out there. So even, I always don't like to compare all-time greats, though, if someone asks you, and that's why I wasn't a big fan. I like Zion a lot. I think he'll stick in this league to be good. That's why I wasn't a big fan when Zion was coming out of college and everyone was saying, this guy's the next LeBron. You really can't say that. He hasn't stepped on the court. You can't say he's the next LeBron. I mean, even the Rangers' most recent draft pick, Alexis Lafreniere, who I'm a big fan of, I think will be a very solid player for us, and I think will play for us for a long time. With the Rangers' most recent draft pick, Alexis Lafreniere. you can't sit here and say that, that he's going to be better. Everyone's saying that he's the next Sidney Crosby. I don't know about that. Sure, Sidney Crosby, one of the best hockey players of all time. It's almost like saying he's the next Wayne Gretzky. He hasn't stepped on the ice yet. You really can't say that. That's almost like saying Mahomes is the best quarterback of all time, or a top 5 quarterback of all time already. He probably will end up at his end of his career, maybe the best of all time if he keeps up what he's doing. But the guy's in his third year of starting. You can't say that yet. So that's why I don't know how I feel about this, because this AD-LeBron relationship has been together for 1 season. But a lot of people are comparing this team to all of a sudden a Lakers dynasty. Is this going to be another dynasty that the Lakers used to have? Is this going to be another dynasty for the Los Angeles Lakers? And if this is a dynasty, is it going to be a Chicago Bulls dynasty? Is it going to be they're 1 season together, they already won a ring, and they have a very good shot at winning another one this season? Is it going to be one of those, we went 3 for 3, we went 4 for 4? Is it going to be one of those? I don't really want to sit here and make that prediction, but that is just something many people have been saying. I don't know if that's really fair. You really can't compare a team that's played 1 season together, won a championship, now all of a sudden say that they're going to win 6 straight and be the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls are probably one of back in the 90s, that Chicago Bulls is probably one of the best dynasty in all of sports. Even this whole Warriors, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, KD there for a little bit, dynasty that they had there, that is still not better than the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, people, the 90 Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, all those guys, Dennis Rodman, you watch the documentary, we all know who they are, is probably the best dynasty to ever play in a sport game, to ever play in a sport. That's why I don't know if it's a fair comparison after 1 season saying that the AD-LeBron together, that duo is going to produce 4 rings in 4 years. Sure, maybe they'll produce 2 or 3 rings. I don't know about in 3 years. They might win. I think they'll win one or 2 more. They might win that in 3 or 4 more years, though. Not 2 more rings in 2 more straight years, right? That kind of stuff. I don't know if they're going to be a 6 for 6. If they're going to be 6 for 6. Every final they make, is going to be, a championship win. That was the Bulls. The Bulls, every final they made, they won it. They were 6 for 6 in the finals. Same thing this season. Already this AD-LeBron combo is 1 for 1. So are they going to make it next season? Maybe. Are they going to win it? I don't know. I don't think they're going to go 4 for 4 like the Bulls. The Bulls went 6 for 6, but I don't know if they're going to be like that. I do think it was a good signing both to re-sign LeBron, give him a 2-year, $85 million max extension, and I think it was good to give AD that 5-year max extension as well. I think those are 2 good moves, 2 very good players, 2 top 5 players right now, and probably, I think, the second best player in all the NBA history, and LeBron James. So those were 2 good moves, but all these people saying that they're going to go 6 for 6 or 3 for 3 just like the Chicago Bulls did, I don't know if that's fair comparison. They've been together 1 season, and people, if you watch the documentary, if you know anything, if you know just a bit about Michael Jordan or any sports or any basketball, you understand how good that Bulls team really was. And you can comment in the comment section down below if you think this stuff is true. And I agree. And I agree that I do think that they're going to be very good, AD and LeBron together, but I don't know if they're going to, I don't know if they're going to make it to, not so much make it to 6 finals and win all 6 of them, maybe even just make it to 3 or 4 and win all 4 of them. I just don't know if that's going to happen. And LeBron, too, that's literally him. He's made it to so many finals. I think he's made it to 8 or something. He's only won 4 times, or 9, I think he's won 4 times. He's like 4 for 9. That's not very good. So, that's not a very good record. So, that's why I think what really separates them. MJ went there 6, won it 6 times. LeBron has gone there so many more times and has only won it like 4. And I shouldn't even say only because 4 is still very good, but you get where I'm coming from. You get where I'm going. So, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you can really call them up there yet. Could it be another Lakers dynasty? Sure, but I don't think anything. Unless if soon. Soon, maybe, but I don't think at this moment, even the Patriots dynasty, that's probably top 5, top 3 dynasty of all time. I still think that Chicago Bulls dynasty was the best sports team to ever step on a sporting field, whether that's field, ice, or court. Best ever. And come at me saying that that's not true. I could prove it. You could also come out with your opinion, and I'll respect your opinion, but I personally think, I don't know if that's really fair to say that they were 1 for 1 and now all of a sudden they're going to be 4 for 4, 5 for 5. Not so much 6 for 6, but win every time that they made it. Don't know if that's really fair. Now I move on to college basketball and college football. Although I do think those 2 moves are very good, and I do think they'll probably win maybe 1 or 2 more finals, but I don't know if it's going to be considered every time they make it if they're going to win it. That's just how LeBron has been his whole career. So now I move on to some of the college basketball games today. These are the AP Top 25 games. You got Virginia Tech and Virginia Military. I give Virginia Tech the win. You got Kansas and Washburn. I give Kansas the win. Iowa and Western Illinois. I give Iowa the win. Arizona State, California. I'll give Arizona State the win. In college football today, there are a couple small games on today. We got North Texas, Louisiana Tech. I'll give Louisiana Tech the win. And you got Air Force, Utah State. I'll give Air Force the win there. So those are your games today for college football. So should be some good games. I'm hoping that it's another good week of college football and college basketball. So that's what I got for the podcast today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Tomorrow is another Football Friday. Like always, Football Friday. I'll give you my game picks, fantasy, all that stuff. I've been doing it so many weeks now. So I will do that tomorrow. And hope we'll see you guys. See you all the viewers tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be Football Friday. Monday we'll talk about the 2 Monday games, and then Monday's gonna be packed pod because you got the 2 Monday games, and then you've also got all the rest of the NFL games. So it's crazy that it's already about to be Friday, and it's crazy. So So I'll see you all back here tomorrow. No Thursday night game on tonight. I'm sure you all probably know that already, but no Thursday night game on tonight. So whether you watch the college football games or the college basketball games, whatever you watch, enjoy it. Whatever you watch, even if it's not a sporting event. Anyway, I will see you all back here I'll see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.